Greetings, my fellow degenerate trader.
It looks as if Turnaround Tuesday struck again. Things were bright neon green today, and it's a little interesting because just yesterday, the overall market got its balls kicked in. It dropped around 3%, and then one day later, i.e. today, it gained about 2.5, 2.6%. So we went from all bloody red to all neon bullish green, and it happened just like that. In this video, I'll be breaking down all the things that you need to know about what happened today, what to pay attention to tomorrow, and also the remainder of the week. But here's the TLDR. Yes, things were pretty bullish today, but it's not so bullish that the overall structure of things are changing. So we're still kind of in that awkward will he, won't he type of a phase. But obviously, I'll be explaining all of that throughout the video. To really kick things off, I hope you crushed it. I hope you made a boatload of tendies. I hope you made more than you could have ever expected. And ideally, that will run into tomorrow. Now, before we get into the meat of the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, of course, if you enjoyed these type of market breakdowns. With all that being said, let's rock. By the time the old stock market went dingity ding 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 on the day, here was the official headline. Dow jumps 1,000 points on hopes for trade fight de-escalation. It's that news that we got between like noon and 2 that kind of sent the market up, then down, then up again. So even though it was officially a turnaround Tuesday, and yes, it was very much a turnaround Tuesday. Look at the heat map of the S&P 500. Like I said, neon green, and it wasn't just equities. It was also the crypto market. It was really hard to find a place where you weren't seeing bright green. But with all that in mind, it didn't really feel that easy throughout the day. Yes, we had a giant pump until about lunch, then we had a giant dump, and then there was a pump, then a mini dump, and then a mini pump into close. But yes, overall, the net situation was very green. But if you were trying to day trade it, scalp trade it, kind of felt like you were getting pulled one way, then the other way. And it wasn't just what we saw in equities. Even the options market didn't know what was going on. This is a tool called Spot Gamma. Obviously, if you're interested in it, you can check it out in the description below. But it lets you know the options flow on top of the price. So the white line is the price of the S&P 500. You can see we were bullish, then bearish, then really bullish, then really bearish, then kind of bullish, then really bearish, and then into close, we kind of did nothing. So even the options market was all over. So I want to break down exactly what happened, because if you're looking at the chart, you're going to see that was kind of wild. So it really all got going around 12, and this is when the funniness started to happen. So this is from the U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent. He said that he sees de-escalation with China in situation unsustainable. Now, I know that seems bearish. I mean, look at heck, there's like a warning sign, there's a red circle, and obviously just saying that the situation is unsustainable, that doesn't feel good. But check this out. It was posted at noon, and that's actually right when the market started to pop. So we had a lot of bullishness out of the gate. The options market was bullish. We came down, we found a bit of support, and then right around noon, that's when we got a push to this key level of 5,300. So even though seemingly it was bad, actually the market really liked us. And then that brought us to the next piece of news. White House is close on a Japan and India trade agreement, and that was posted around 110. Once again, check this out. So around 110, that's actually when we started to come down a little bit in price, but then it looked like we were going to find a base and officially break and run above 5,300. And very quickly after that, we got smashed. So the Japan announcement is why we got the pop. And then a couple minutes later, we got this update. U.S. officials working on memorandums for future deals. It may take months to reach the final trade deals. The fact that it might take months, the market's like, well, we really don't like that. So it started to sell. And then as you could tell, the selling really started to speed up when we got this little ditty. Bessent, obviously the Treasury Secretary, expects tariff standoff with China to de-escalate, but then from there, U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent, China negotiations will be a slog. A word you don't really hear that often, describes current bilateral trade situation as an embargo, according to a person who overheard his talk at some JP Morgan session in DC today. So very quickly to recap, we popped around the start of lunch because of the de-escalation, saying it was unsustainable with China, and for whatever reason, the market liked it. Then we got another pop and looked like we're going to be above this key level on this idea that the trade talks were progressing with Japan. And then we got this update from Politico that it actually might take months, and then we dropped. And then it got really bad when we got the update from Bessent, again related to China, that it might be quote unquote a slog. And then that brought us down and we kind of overshot some of the support. And then all of a sudden we started to rip. Now the question here is, why did that happen? Well, it was because of the White House press secretary. Stocks rebound as traders bet on tariff progress. What you need to know here is it was a long talk, but here's the TLDR. Apparently, there's around 18 different countries who we have on paper a potential plan with, and apparently progress has been made with China. So obviously it was more of a bullish tune than a bearish one. Now you could obviously argue, is that all truthful? Is that all accurate? I don't know. You would have to be in the know to officially know that. But I'm telling you, right when the market started to pop was exactly when she was explaining how much progress has actually been made. So yes, we got hit with various pieces of news, bullish, kind of bullish again, bearish, even more bearish, and then it was bullish. And the reason we continued to trend up is because at that point, we really didn't get much more news. But don't you worry, as soon as tomorrow, we're gonna get a lot more news. Wednesday, April 23rd, 9:45, 15 minutes into the trading day, we're gonna get some manufacturing and services PMI numbers around 10, new home sales, 10:30, crude oil inventories. And I also should note that at 10 a.m. tomorrow, it was just announced today that the Treasury Secretary is gonna do some sort of like impromptu surprise speech. So of course I will be streaming it. So those are all the things going down tomorrow. And with it, I wouldn't be surprised, especially in that speech, if we get more drama between Trump and Powell. Trump is laying the groundwork to blame Powell for any downturn. Obviously, Trump, the leader of the administration, obviously Powell, the leader of the Fed, right now they are at odds. Powell is getting no incoming information that is telling him to cut rates. And on top of that, Trump very much wants him to cut rates. And between Thursday, Friday, and as recently as today, there's a lot of pejorative terms that Trump is lobbing at Powell, calling him a loser, too late, and it goes on and on because he's basically not doing what he wants him to do. I want to be clear about one thing. I'm not telling you who is right, who is wrong. I don't have a PhD in monetary policy or the economy, but I do want you to know that it is not Powell holding it up. In fact, check this out. If Trump wants rates cut, he would likely need to replace the Fed's full board along with Powell. The reason they're saying this is because the FOMC, the Federal Open Market Committee, the group of 19 people who get to decide what's going on with the Fed interest rate, they're all pretty much unanimous. They're all in agreement that we're at where we should be at. It's not as if we're in a situation where half of the voting members want it to go down and Powell's holding it up, or wanting it to go up and Powell's not letting it do that. No. All of them are pretty much looking at the same information and coming to the same solution or the same agreement that, nope, we're exactly where we should be. Like I said, I'm not telling you that that's the right answer. I'm just telling you they're all pretty much in lockstep. So this brings us back to the golden question. Is Trump going to get what he wants? And the answer is most likely not. It's a little bit questionable if he could fire Powell, and even if he did, the rest of the board members are already kind of in agreement with Powell, once again, based on all the current information they have. So for him to pull this off in a very short period, he would have to not only find the legal means to get rid of Powell, but on top of that, he would either have to convince the entire board to do what he wants, or he would have to replace the entire board, which seems very statistically slim, as in not going to happen. So obviously the entire situation, as it's been for weeks now, is pretty chaotic and there's a lot of uncertainty. But to add to the fun, don't forget we're in earnings season. As I'm filming this, Tesla's numbers are coming out tomorrow morning. Boeing, AT&T, Vertu. We have Alaska Airlines, IBM, Chipotle. On Thursday, American Airlines, Southwest. And on Thursday, Intel. And then the big one of the week is going to be Google. But then circling back to what's happening right now at Tesla, I'm going to tell you this. I haven't seen the results yet, so let's check into it. Tesla short sellers have made 11.5 billion from this year's sell-off. Obviously, they are hoping that the sell-off is going to continue, but I did just find this article. How did it go? Tesla reports disappointing quarterly results as automotive revenue plunges 20%. Well, how is the stock doing? This is a real-time reaction. It's only down 0.2% right now after gaining 4.6%. It's not even down $1. So even though I guess the earnings didn't beat, it seems as if the market doesn't care. So obviously an interesting one to pay attention to for the remainder of the evening, and obviously when we get rocking tomorrow. Folks, that's your breakdown of all the craziness that happened in the market right now. But before I let you go, I have one important thing to say. Yes, the market had a great gain today. The SPY up 2.6, the Qs up 2.63, Bitcoin up 4.2, Tesla up 4.6, MSTR up 8. Man, crypto's really crushing it. But here's what you need to know. Even though in the short term, this day, turnaround Tuesday, we had a nice gain, the question is, does this have legs? Is it sustainable? And as of right now, as I'm filming this, for the remainder of the week and really all the major monthly and quarterly options, the expiration dates, they're all still put dominated. It is very, very difficult for us to have that V-shaped bullish recovery when the options market is so incredibly dominated by the bears. Now, eventually it will switch, but as of right now, as of the point that I'm filming it, it's really just not the time to take that particular shot. And obviously, I'll be one of the first people screaming it from the rooftops when we see it, but just at this moment in time, we're not seeing that data. Yes, in the short term, today obviously ended up being very bullish, but even by the time you get to this Friday to conclude the week, it is still put dominated. Of course, the market is dynamic. It can change on a moment's notice, but like I said, as of this exact moment, we're just not seeing that quite yet be reflected. So with that, I want to leave you with one question. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment below. When do you think it's going to be time to buy that dip? Like I said, I would love to hear from you. Other than that, I appreciate you making it to this point in the video. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you stopping by. I'll see you in the live stream tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. bright and early. And other than that,
Peace out.